Hi, my name is Billy Flowers, and welcome to my channel where I talk about velocity banking and how we can use this strategy to massively pay off debt. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about that $40,000 new car I mentioned in the last video and how we can pay it off using a $10,000 line of credit. So let's get started. So first off, we're going to be talking about our four key numbers. We have our income of $5,000. Our expenses are at $3,000. Our debt, which is our brand new car, is at $40,000. And we have a cash flow of $2,000. That's our most important number. Our car payment is $811 per month at an 8% interest rate. And the term is for 60 months. Down here, I've broken down the chunks, the first chunk, the second chunk, and the third chunk. And below that, I've broken down the interest and the principal that we're going to be paying after we make each one of those chunks. So on the first month, on the first chunk, the interest that we're going to be getting charged is $205, and $605 is going towards the principal. After we make the second chunk, $124 is going towards the interest, and $686 is going towards the principal. And the final chunk, we have only $41 going towards the interest, and $769 is going towards the principal. Now, when you look at this, you can actually see the power of chunking, because you see how much more of our monthly payment is going towards the principal and how much less of interest that we're paying, especially once we get down to the last chunk. And this is only factoring in the first month of each one of these chunking cycles, because it's going to take us about roughly 5 months to pay off each one of these chunks. So the principal is going to be actually a little bit higher than what you see here, and the interest is going to be even lower. So let's see how this works. So on month one, we're going to take $10,000 of our line of credit, and we're going to make that first chunk towards the car, lowering it down to $30,000. And then we're going to put our income into the line of $5,000, and it's going to lower the balance down to $5,000. And then our expenses are going to come out of $3,000. It's going to raise the balance up to $8,000 at the end of month one. Month two, same deal. Income in, expenses out. Balance is going to be $6,000 at the end of month two. Month three, income in, expenses out, lowers the balance down to $4,000 at the end of month three. So now, since our balance is under what our income is, I always like to flip the numbers just to make it a little easier for everyone to see when we're actually paying the balance down to zero. So I'm going to have the expenses come out first and then our income going in. So on month four, we have our expenses come out, going to raise the balance up to $7,000. And now our income is going in of $5,000. It's going to lower the balance all the way down to $2,000 at the end of month four. Month five, expenses are going to come out of $3,000, raises the balance up to $5,000. And guess what that matches? Our income. So in about 5 months, we're going to zero this bad boy out. $10,000 is wiped off of our principal, and we also paid $10,000 off of our line of credit. And we're going to repeat this 3 times. And you're going to ask yourself, well, Billy, if you do this 3 times $10,000, that's only, I'm not good with numbers, right? But that's only $30,000. But I have to remind you that what were we doing this whole time? Also, we were also making our monthly payments. Remember this over here? We were also making our monthly payments. So for 5 months, we were paying at least $605 for this first chunk was going towards the principal. So if we take this and multiply it by 5, That's a little bit over $3,000. And we can do this all three times. So we have 3,000 here, we have 3,000 there, and we have another 3,000 over there. So that's another 9,000 easy on top of that, because you can see these numbers are even higher right here. So obviously it's going to be over 3,000, but I'm just going by 3,000 a piece. So that's 9 grand, right? 9,000 on top of your 30, right? The car is 40. So 30 plus 9, we're going to be a little bit over 9. So 15 months, we're pretty much done. But I know you're going to say this too. I know you're going to have people in the comments saying, well, Billy, what about the interest every month? I know this is not an interest-free line of credit. No, it's not. This line of credit right here is for 15%, right? So the max interest that we're going to be paying each month for each one of these chunks, and I'm taking the highest balance on each month and calculating the interest on that. I'm not calculating the interest when we're actually putting our income in and then the balance goes down and we're getting calculated on that daily balance. No, I'm doing it on the highest balance every month. So the highest that we'll get charged is $375 for this entire 5 months. And of course, I did that because we did it 3 times. And that's going to equal another $1,125 max. Now, we're going to calculate the interest on the actual car loan when we're actually making the actual car loan before we paid it off, the actual monthly payments. So the first chunk, the first 5 months, we're going to be paying roughly around $965. After we make the second chunk for 5 months, we're going to be paying $641. And then for the last chunk, the remaining chunk, 5 months, we're going to be paying around $285, which is going to equal $1,891. Add this up, the max that we're going to be paying, probably going to be less than that. And what we're going to be paying here on an actual car loan, we're going to get $3,016. Now, if we just paid this to the traditional way, we're going to be getting charged $8,663 of interest on this $40,000 car. So if we took this number and subtracted from that number, we end up saving $5,647 of interest. Now, I don't know about you, but I would love to have this in my pocket. Wouldn't you? An extra $5,000. Imagine what you could do with an extra $5,600 in your bank account. What you can do with that? What kind of fun you could do with that? I would. Ooh, you just don't know. But like I always like to do, I always like to see if the 8,000, if the actual interest that we're getting charged, right, is actually 8% like they advertise. So I always like to do this while I'm doing these videos. So everybody break out your calculator and we're gonna do this math together, like we're in school, going back to elementary right now. So you're just gonna open up Google and you're gonna type in 8,663 is what percent of $40,000. You're going to type search. Whew, and you're going to get a number that's probably going to be a shock to you, but we'll do this together. You're going to get 21.65%. And we're just going to round this up for fun. 22%. Yes. So $8,663 is 22% of $40,000. This is the percentage that you're actually paying. And this is the percentage that the bank likes to advertise. This is the percentage that people like to brag about. Like, oh yeah, I'm only paying 8% on my car. When you actually pay your regular monthly payment every month for the entire term, this is how much you're actually paying. And it looks quite familiar, doesn't it? Doesn't this look like an interest rate on a credit card? Those high interest rates on the credit card, don't that look kind of familiar right there? But everybody's telling you about this. This is what the bank's selling you on. This is how the banks make their money. They're making 22% interest off of you. And then at the same time, like I mentioned in that last video, you're keeping your money in the bank, and they might be giving you, maybe, let's just be generous and say they're giving you a 0.5%, but they're charging you 22% on your loan. They're they're loaning you the same money that you have in the bank, and they're charging you 22% on it, but they're just giving you a 0.5% in interest. Yeah, that's the game. So up here, I also put the traditional way, the first 5 months of interest. As I mentioned in the last video, I broke down the first 5 months. This is how much you're going to be paying in the first 5 months of interest on this loan. If you didn't do any of this, if you just paid your $811, you're going to be paying $1,295 of interest. Remember, here at Max, we paid $1,125 in interest using $30,000 of this line and paying it off. Look at the difference there. 5 months of just paying regular monthly payments. This is how much you're paying using $30,000. This is the max right here. You're going to be paying actually less than this, but this is the max. See the difference? Yeah, I do. Now, you might be wondering, why do I have this month 16 here? Because we're going to have a little bit left over on the loan after we make the last chunk, because we have to tack on interest, of course, during this whole time. So we're going to have about $1,606 left on our amortized schedule to pay off. And once month 16 comes. So what are we going to do? Well, our line is going to be at zero. So we're just going to pay the car off. And what that's going to do is that's immediately going to lower our expenses, because we no longer have that $811 car payment. So that's going to lower our expenses down to $2,189. Isn't that wonderful? Also, what is that going to do to our cash flow? We're going to get that cash flow, right? So this $2,000 of cash flow becomes plus 811. So it becomes $2,811 for this final month. So now we're using the car payment plus our cash flow to help us pay off the car. So to pay off the car, we're paying off this car right now. So that's gonna the expenses are gonna come out, right. $2,189. Gonna raise the balance up to $3,795. Our income is $5,000, so we're just gonna zero this out. So in 1 month, it's done. You want to add this interest in there, which we should. If you add this interest in there, we're still going to be under our 5K. So in month 16, we're done. But just to be generous, as they say, month 17, maybe month 18, we're actually paying the car off. So 16 to 18 months, this car is done. $40,000 new vehicle, starting off with $2,000 of cash flow, is done within 16 to 18 months. Yes, this is how velocity banking works. This is the efficient way. This is the way they don't teach you in school. We get taught this way. This is what we're raised on. Just to pay your monthly payment on your car. And you got this nice little interest rate, right? But then you're paying all this interest. You're paying 22% interest. Mm-mm. We're smarter than that. We don't do that. We don't pay. No. You know what? Let's see how much 1125, just to see how much 1125 is of $30,000 that we borrowed. Let's just see how much interest that is. Let's just do the same thing that we did with the car loan. Let's just do this right quick. So 1125 is what percent of $30,000? Woo wee, woo wee 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 wee. All right, since I rounded up over here, I have to be fair. So I'm just gonna I'm just gonna do this. You see that? 4%. That's Remember I said this line is 15%. So this is the percentage that we actually we actually paid 4% of the 15 that the line of credit says. So I'd rather the interest work for me like this than against me like that. Wouldn't you agree? I'll take this any day of the week. So I just wanted to show you how this works and how velocity banking actually works and how you can use this to save, to to pocket this money, to pay off your car. And now this car is yours in 16 to 18 months. Isn't this amazing? So I just wanted to thank you for tuning in today. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below. And like I always say, get that cash flow.